Welcome to Developer Service YouTube channel. On today's episode, we're going to be working on a folder monitoring in Python with ntfy.sh notifications. I've always been fascinated with having notifications because I think that it drives response much faster and provides much better visibility to automated workflows. And when I needed to monitor some folder for some file changes, I thought it would be a perfect idea to also implement notifications there. And so I'm going to be sharing the code for that with you guys in this video. So it is ntfy.sh. So it's a simple HTTP-based publisher subscription services that allows to provide notifications. So it allows you to send notifications to your phone or desktop apps from scripts or software or just using a very standard REST API. It is 100% open source or free software. There is a cloud version that you can use and to pay to support the development, but there's also a fully open source version that you can install not just the app on your phone, but you can also self-host the server that provides the notifications in your own infrastructure. So let's now take a look at the code. As I mentioned, we will folder monitoring with the notification. So it's a Python script that monitors the folder for any file changes and sends push notifications with the ntfy.sh notification services when files are created, modified, or deleted. It's a very simple service, consists of just one single file. Some of the features is that it's real-time folder monitoring using Watchdog, post notifications for the file creation, modification, deletion, and also moves. It has different notification styles based on the event type. Notifications are sent as a JSON payload. We can filter the monitoring by file extensions. It also supports cursive directory. It has a human-readable file size display and detailed logging on the script side also. So this will be available as the GitHub repository. I'll leave a link in the description for the repository. But let's now take a look at the code. In terms of requirements, very simple requirements. We have the requests library so that we can send the HTTP post requests, and the Watchdog library so we can monitor any file changes in the file system. So let's now take a look at the script itself. So we do our imports, JSON time, the argument parse because this was a command line script. Logging OS so that we can also perform some file operations, system and date time, and obviously also the request library, Watchdog observers, and the Watchdog events so we can have the file system event handler. Next we set up logging, a very basic logging configuration. We log everything above info. We format the messages and of course also the date format, and we instantiate the logger. Then we create our file change handler class, which inherits from file system event handler that it handles the system events, and it's also where the notifications are sent. So we initialize our class by receiving a topic and the list of extensions that we want to include, and also a list of directories that or a flag to exclude the directories or not, whether we want to send notifications when there is directory changes. We immediately send a notification saying that the monitoring has started with the use of the helper function that we see later on. So we send the title, we send the message, and also the default priority and a tag that is then converted into an emoji. And of course, we also log that information. And if we are excluding extensions, we also log that information to the login. Then we have our should process event that when there is an event in the file change, it checks if it should be processed or not based on the configuration. So we are checking if it's skipped the directory events if we have configured that to be the case. And if there is an extensions filter, then it also checks the file extension for the file that the event has been generated, if it should be processed or not. And if everything is correctly, it returns to be processed, or if there is an exclusion, it returns a false and it will not process that event. Then we handle all the different type of events. First, the on create, which handles any file or directory creation events. First, we check, of course, if we should process it or not. And then we get the path and the file name and the file size. We log that information as logging in the script, and we send a notification that the file has been created with the title of the file has been created, the message that says the file name, the path, the file size, and also the date time. We send the priority, in this case default priority for file creation, and we do the tags that are converted into emojis as file folder and new. Then following the same principle, we have the modified event that handles any file or directory modification events. Same principle, check the process event, get the file information, log on the script, and send a notification of those file changes. In this case, we are sending a pencil as the emoji. Then the undeleted event, again, should process to collect the file information, log to the logger, send a notification, in this case with a high priority, and we send the wastebasket and a warning for the deletion of a file or directory. Then the onMove, it detects the source and destination path, it logs that information, it sends the notification, it also verifies it if it's a file rename or move, and it sends the corresponding message, default priority, and also arrow in terms of indication that move. Then we have the helper function, the get file size, that gets you the more readable file size. So it checks the path of the file, gets the bytes information, and converts that for a more human readable format, which megabytes, kilobytes, gigabytes, or terabytes. And then we have the send notifications function itself that receives the message, the title, the priority. The message is mandatory, everything else is optional. So the tags. Additionally, we can also provide a click or a URL that the user can click. We can attach do attachments, and also provide actions, that is more buttons that can be pressed on notifications. For this example, we're not using any of those features. We established a URL for notifications. In this case, it's a cloud version of this, the ntfy service, but you can also, as I said, do the self-hosting, and then you can put your own URL here. We create the JSON payload. We start by the topic and the message, and then we check the different input parameters of the function, if they're filled in, and if they are, then we add that to the JSON payload. We convert the priority. If it is passed as a string, we convert it to an integer, and we pass that to the JSON payload. Again, the tags and the click and the attachments, everything is filled in. And then we send the actual JSON payload to the request body. So we do a request post or the URL. We send us the data, just a JSON dump of the JSON file that we create, the JSON that we create as the payload. Response status 200, all was well. So we just log that as a debug, that everything was sent successfully. And if not, we log that there's an error sending the notification. Then outside of our class file, we have our main function that is responsible for processing the execution of the script. So we're creating an argument passer to receive the command line parameters, which can be the path, the topic, and the topic is the topic for the notification. ntfy works with a base of topics, and topics are public, and so you can choose a very secure topic by choosing a very difficult to guess name, or you self-host to the server, and then you have the added security of self-hosting it yourself. Another element is the extensions, if it includes directory events or not, and if it's recursive. We check if the path exists. We process the file extensions if they are included, and we create the file change handler instance of the class, and we pass the topic. We pass the extensions and the directories. Then initialize our watchdog. We create an instance of the observer. We schedule with the event handler, that is the class that we saw before. We pass the path, and if it's recursive or not, we start the observer. And while it's true, to keep the script running. If there is a control C or a keyboard interrupt, it also sends a notification saying that the monitoring has stopped, and it stops the observer so that it can handle the gracefully shutdown. And we do the observer start, and we do the observer join at the end to make sure that we handle the graceful shutdown. The main execution of the script just calls the main function that we saw. As you can see, very simple script to do the folder monitoring, but also very simple logic to send the notification. So let me open a terminal window, and we're going to be executing our script. So we do Python, the folder monitoring. We're going to be passing the path. We're going to pass the current directory where the script is located. And as a topic, we can pass the developer service test. And the script is now running. And you can download the mobile application, but you can also use the web version of the app that we can access if you go to the website. You can open app, and you can access the web version of the app. So I can subscribe to a topic, and that's how we get access to the notifications. So if I tap the topic name that we put before, the developer service test, and I say correct, we can also generate a very secure name, and I'm going to hit subscribe. And you see, as I subscribe to the topic, there's already a notification here. That was the one when we started the script, inside folder monitoring started, and we started the monitoring the folder for changes. If I go back to the script, and if I create a new file here, and I create a new test file, and you can see that that has been logged in the logging that has been created. And also, if I go to the notifications, it has the notifications the file has been created. You can also see the Google notifications, and file has been created, the file location, and the size. It was an empty file. And if I also do the opposite now, if I delete the file, I go here and I delete the file, move to recycle. Again, the information has been logging, and the indication that the file has been deleted with a notification. If you would had the app, the mobile app installed on your phone, then you'll also receive the push notification, just as you are receiving here, about these changes. And like I was mentioning, if I do Control-C and stop the script, then it will stop, and you see, we also got a notification that the monitoring has stopped, and it was stopped by the user. So as you can see, very simple script to build the file monitoring. Very easy to use the ntfy.sh push notifications. Like I mentioned, you can self-host yourself for the added security. You self-host your own server. So like this video if you like this content, subscribe for more content about Python, Django, and AI. And until next time, happy coding!